palace was quiet after the failed mission. Too quiet. Jake walked slowly through the halls, his arm in a sling and a healing patch across his chest. Every guard he passed gave a small bow. Every noble he met avoided his eyes. Jake was no longer a joke. He was something else now, something dangerous. In the throne room, Princess Virel met with her council. Maps and reports floated in the air. The war was spreading like cracks in glass. "We need answers," Virel said. "We need to know who is helping the rebels. Their tech is too advanced." Jake entered, looking tired but alert. "I might have something." The nobles turned. "After the ambush, I found this." Jake tossed a small device onto the table. "It was inside the rebel base. I think it's a code transmitter." A tech officer grabbed it and scanned. His eyes widened. "This is very old. Not rebel. Not even Tarzul." "What then?" Virel asked. The officer swallowed. "This code belongs to the Athari." Gasps filled the room. Jake frowned. "Who the hell are the Athari?" Virel looked at him, her voice low. "They were an empire that ruled this side of the galaxy. 10,000 years ago. A forbidden vault. That night, Virel took Jake to a locked part of the palace, deep, underground. The halls were dark and cold. No guards followed. "I've never shown this to anyone," she said. Jake raised an eyebrow. "Sounds serious." "It is." They entered a round chamber. In the center stood a tall stone pillar, covered in symbols glowing faintly. It pulsed when Virel approached. "This is an Athari vault key," she said. "It was given to my ancestors by the last of the Athari before they vanished." Jake walked around it slowly. "You think the rebels found something like this?" "Worse," she said. "I think someone woke the Athari up." Jake stared at her. "I thought they were dead." "They were. Maybe not anymore." The dream signal. That night, Jake couldn't sleep. He kept hearing sounds in his head, voices that weren't his, whispering in a language he didn't know but somehow understood. He woke up in a sweat, eyes glowing faintly blue. The same blue as the vault. Virel rushed in, her chair nearly crashing. "I felt it too. A signal. It's calling us." Jake grabbed his coat. "Then let's follow it." Journey to the dead planet. The next day, they left the palace in secret. Just Jake, Virel, and a small ship called the Emberlight. The signal led them to an unmarked planet covered in ice. No sun, no light, just endless frozen land. They landed near a huge black tower, half buried in snow. "This isn't on any map," Jake said. "It wouldn't be," Virel replied. "It's Athari." They stepped into the tower. It was warm inside, too warm for a dead world. Lights flickered on, machines hummed. Suddenly, a voice echoed through the walls. "Welcome, heirs of flame." Jake spun around. Did it just talk to us?" Virel nodded. "It recognized our bloodline." The hallway opened and a glowing map appeared. Stars, routes, ancient cities long gone. Jake stared. This is a war map." "Yes," Virel whispered. "And it's showing where the Athari hid their weapons." The living machine. Deeper in the tower, they found something stranger. A giant machine shaped like a throne pulsed with energy. Inside it sat a body, half metal, half flesh, still alive. Barely. It opened one eye. "You are not Athari," it said in a cold voice. Virel stepped forward. "But I am heir to their promise." The machine creature stared at her. "Then, you have come too late. The rest are already awake." Jake clenched his fists. "Are they helping the rebels?" "No," the being said. "They are using them as bait." "Bait for what?" Virel asked. "For war," the creature said. "To bring chaos, so they may rise again." The machine blinked slowly. "You, the human, you carry the spark, the code inside you." Jake stepped back. "What spark?" The creature laughed weakly. You touched the vault, it changed you, now you are part of the ancient path. Jake's hand began to glow faintly blue again. Oh great, he muttered. I'm glowing. Again. Back to Tarzul, they returned, home in silence. The stars outside no longer looked peaceful. Every light could be a threat. The palace was on high alert. Another city had fallen. The rebels had started using Ithari tech, cloaked ships, gravity weapons, even teleporters. Jake entered the war room. We're not fighting rebels anymore, we're fighting ghosts. The nobles argued. We need to hide. We need to beg for peace. No, Varel said, voice firm. We need to act. Now. She looked at Jake. We need your unit and your chaos. Jake nodded. Then let's light the match. Rising flame. The Mercer unit returned to the field, now with new orders. Sabotage rebel tech, capture Ithari artifacts, and destroy any signals trying to wake more of them. Jake led from the front. Varel commanded from the palace, guiding him through the mind link they now shared from the vault's bond. Each time Jake touched Ithari tech, he felt something strange, memories not his own. Visions of stars exploding, of fleets of black ships devouring planets. They're not just coming back, Jake said. They want to burn everything. One last message. The part machine being they met had left one final message. It arrived in the middle of the night, broadcast through a secret channel. The Harbinger has been chosen. Varel played it over and over. Jake stared at the message. Do you think it means me? He asked. I don't know, Varel said. But if you are the Harbinger... Jake stood up, face grim. Then, I'm going to burn their empire before it wakes up. The stars were no longer safe. Every week another rebel group rose. But they weren't rebels anymore, not truly. They were puppets now. Controlled by ancient Ithari machines, directed by voices from the void. Jake stood in the command bay of the Emberlight, watching the star map shift. Every red dot was a place where the Ithari had reawakened. They were everywhere. And they were coming. The final plan. Inside the palace war room, Varel rolled to the center table. Her voice was calm, but her eyes were sharp. They're building something, she said, at the edge of the galaxy. A massive ship, larger than a city. Jake frowned. What kind of ship? One that doesn't carry passengers, she replied. It eats suns. The nobles gasped. Jake leaned forward. Then we take it out before it's ready. One noble shouted, Impossible! We don't even know where it is. Jake tossed a small device on the table. A hologram, lit up showing a dark red star surrounded by a glowing ring. I do. Varel smiled slightly. He found it in a dream. The Ithari Forge. The Emberlight jumped through hyperspace, arriving at the edge of a dying solar system. There it was. The Forge. The Ithari Sun-Eater ship floated in silence, drinking energy from a red giant star. Giant silver arms stretched from it, building weapons, ships, machines. Its core pulsed like a beating heart. Jake stood at the front window. Looks like a floating nightmare. Varel sat beside him. It is, but we end it now. They sent a signal to the Mercer unit. Every ship, every fighter, every soldier loyal to the crown prepared for one last mission. Infiltration. The Mercer unit arrived in drop pods, crashing down on the forge's surface like comets. Explosions rocked the edges. Smoke filled the air. Jake led the charge, wearing armor forged from Ithari steel. His sword was powered by the vault core. Pure energy pulsed through it. He moved like fire. Rebel drones swarmed, but Jake's unit moved faster. They used human tricks, traps, ambushes, dirty moves the ancient machines had never seen before. Inside the forge, Varel guided them from the ship, plugged directly into the vault systems. Her body stayed still, but her mind flew through Ithari data paths like a storm. Jake could hear her voice in his head. Left hallway, 2 drones, take the ceiling. Shield generator ahead, aim for the glowing core. Together, They were unstoppable. The heart of the forge. Jake finally reached the central chamber. The Athari core floated in midair, pure light wrapped in metal rings. It pulsed with power. Energy waves knocked him back. Then, the last of the Athari woke. Up a tall, glowing being stepped from the shadows. Its body was made of light and armor. Its voice echoed like thunder. "You are the Harbinger." Jake gritted his teeth. "Yeah, I keep hearing that. What does it mean?" "You were chosen by the Vault. The flame lives in you. You are the key to waking the next generation of Athari." Jake raised his blade. Not interested. The Athari being moved like lightning, striking with a blade of pure force. Jake blocked, barely standing. Each hit sent waves of heat and pain through his body. His armor cracked. His sword flickered. "Jake," Varel said in his mind, "you can't win by force. Then what do I do?" "Let the spark inside you speak." Jake closed his eyes, and something opened inside him. The flame within. A blue light burst from Jake's chest, surrounding him like a burning star. He saw memories, not his, own, of ancient humans fighting alongside Athari during the last war. He saw a secret alliance long forgotten, and he saw himself, chosen not because of power, but because of heart. He opened his eyes, now glowing bright blue. His sword, reignited, larger, brighter. The Athari stepped back. "You carry the first flame, impossible." Jake smiled. "I'm Phi." Caleb Maris stood in the docking bay, staring at the ship before him. It didn't look like any ship he had seen before. It was alive. Its surface pulsed like skin, and strange veins glowed faintly along its hull. The name printed in sharp Lissari. Script read, "Cradle of Ashira." He adjusted the strap on his medical bag and stepped forward. He had worked with many alien species during his time in the Diplomatic Health Corps, but this was his first assignment deep inside Lissari space. They had told him very little. "Your job is to care for Queen Ashira Vel," the officer had said. "She's recovering from a neural collapse. You will provide therapy, monitor her condition, and report changes. No personal questions, no deep interactions, just keep her stable." Caleb had nodded, but something about the warning had stuck in his mind. Now as he walked into the ship's entrance, it felt more like stepping into a throat than a hallway. The walls were soft and warm, lit from within by a soft blue glow. He didn't hear engines. The ship breathed. A guide drone floated toward him, a small, insect-like machine with a soft voice. "Welcome, human medic Caleb Maris. Please follow me to the royal chamber." Caleb followed. As they walked, he noticed the ship shifting slightly with each step, like it was watching him. He tried not to think about it. They arrived at a large door that opened without a sound. The chamber beyond was wide and circular. Bioluminescent vines covered the walls. In the center sat a raised platform, and on it Queen Ashira Vel. She was taller than he expected. Her body was covered in sleek, dark blue chitin that shimmered in the light. 4 arms rested at her sides, and long, curved antennae arched gently from her head. Her face was alien, yet somehow graceful. Her eyes opened slowly as he entered. Silver, calm and sharp. "You are the human?" she asked, her voice soft but heavy with authority. "I am," Caleb said, bowing slightly. "Caleb Maris, I'm here to help with your recovery." She studied him for a moment, then nodded. "I was told you would come." Caleb walked over, keeping a respectful distance. He scanned her with his portable medical tool. Her vitals were stable, but her neural patterns were strange, like something was suppressed, held back. "I'll need to begin resonance therapy tomorrow," he said. "But I'll be monitoring you daily." Ashira tilted her head. "Do you know what I am?" "You're the queen of the Lissari Dominion," Caleb replied. "No," she said, her tone quiet. "That is what they call me. But do you know what I am?" Caleb hesitated. "No." Ashira looked away. "Then perhaps It is better that way. Caleb said nothing. He didn't want to break the rules of the contract. Still, there was something strange in her voice. A sadness. A loneliness he had seen in many patients but never in a ruler. He turned to leave. "I'll return in the morning." Ashira didn't respond. That night, Caleb stayed in the guest quarters of the ship. They were surprisingly comfortable. But he couldn't sleep. Around midnight, he heard a soft humming noise like a song made of whispers. Curious, he followed the sound through the organic hallways. He reached a dark section of the ship, clearly unused. It was cooler here, and the walls were dull and lifeless. Then he saw her. Queen Ashira stood before a large, sealed door. Her hands were pressed against the surface, and her antennae trembled. She whispered in the Lissari tongue, her voice shaking. "Wake up," she said. "Please, just once, respond. I know you can hear me." The door didn't move. Caleb stayed silent. He felt like he was seeing something he wasn't supposed to. Finally, she stepped back and turned away, then stopped. "You followed me," she said without turning. Caleb took a step forward. "I heard something. I didn't mean to intrude." She looked at him, her silver eyes dim. "Then don't speak of this. Not to the crew. Not to your superiors." He nodded. "I understand." She walked past him slowly. "They told you I was ill, that I broke. But the truth is, they broke me." Caleb opened his mouth to ask, but she raised a hand. "Not yet, human. Not yet." She vanished into the shadows, leaving Caleb alone with the sleeping walls and questions he couldn't yet ask. The next morning, Caleb began his therapy sessions. He connected the resonance device to Ashira's neural nodes. Delicate work, but he had done it many times before. As the machine hummed softly, Caleb monitored her brainwaves. Something stirred beneath the surface. Something powerful. Her energy was not like other patients. It was focused, intelligent, and deep. Ashira didn't speak much during the session. But when it was done, she looked at him with those silver eyes and said, "You are not like the others." "Others?" "The ones they send. Watchers. Spies. Tools." She paused. "You look at me like I am still a person." Caleb didn't know what to say, so he said the truth. "Because you are." Ashira blinked slowly, then leaned back. "Then perhaps, Caleb Maris, I will let you see more than the surface." And with that, she closed her eyes, and the session ended. But Caleb knew this was only the beginning. The days passed quietly, but Caleb Maris knew something was wrong. Queen Ashiravel was healing, yes, but not in the way his reports had predicted. Her body recovered faster than expected, her neural responses sharpened, and her energy patterns became more complex. It was as if the therapy wasn't just fixing her, it was waking her up. Each session with her was deeper, more intense. When he connected the resonance device to her neural ports, Caleb sometimes felt strange emotions. Regret, hunger, hope. It wasn't just medicine. It was connection. And the ship, the cradle of Ashira, was changing too. Lights flickered in, places where they had been dark before. Strange sounds hummed through the walls. Doors opened when Caleb walked by, even when he didn't request access. It was like the ship was watching, listening, responding. One evening after a therapy session, Ashira sat still on her platform. She was quiet, but her antennae twitched slowly. Caleb packed up his tools, ready to leave, when she spoke softly. "They say I am the last." Caleb turned. "The last? Of what?" She looked up, her silver eyes glowing faintly. "The last of the true royals." He sat down slowly. "What does that mean?" Ashira ran one clawed hand over the floor. "Long ago, the Lissari did not rule by strength, but by harmony. The royal caste was born to connect, not only with our people, but with our living ships. We did not command, we sang with them. Caleb frowned. But that's not how things work now. No. Her voice turned cold. The regents changed everything. They saw our connection as dangerous, unpredictable. They feared what we could do. Caleb remembered the sealed door Ashira had visited that night, the way she whispered to it, begged it. They tried to erase us, she continued. But I survived. I was hidden, kept asleep, moved from world to world until it was safe. But it never became safe. So they brought me here, to silence me. You mean this ship is your prison? Ashira looked around slowly. It is more than a prison. It is me. This ship is not only alive, it was grown for me. I was born inside it. My mind is linked to its heart, but they damaged that link. They called it healing. It was not healing, it was suppression. Caleb stood up. He felt angry now. Why would they do this? You're their queen. I'm a symbol, a name, nothing more. They needed a puppet, not a queen with power. Caleb walked to the edge of the platform. I can help you restore the link. Ashira looked at him with surprise. You would risk your life for that? I was sent to care for you. This is care, truth, freedom, not just medicine. For a long moment, Ashira said nothing. Then she smiled, not with her mouth but with her eyes. A soft glow surrounded her body. The ship trembled slightly beneath them. You are not like them, she said. That night, Caleb received a private message. It wasn't from the Lysari, Dominion, or the Health Corps. It was anonymous. Just one sentence. If she fully awakens, the Dominion dies. You're not her doctor. You're her jailer. He stared at the message. Who sent it? Someone from the Lysari? Someone human? It didn't matter. The meaning was clear. They didn't want her cured. They wanted her contained. Caleb looked around his quarters. The walls seemed to breathe faster, as if the ship had read the message too. He made a choice. The next day, he brought a new device to the therapy session. It was not standard medical equipment. It was a neural harmonizer, illegal in most systems, because it could remove psychic blocks and unlock repressed memories. Ashira saw it and raised an eyebrow. You are serious, then? Caleb nodded. If you want the truth, this can help you find it. She lowered her head slowly. Do it. He placed the harmonizer over her primary neural crest and activated it. Soft lights shimmered as waves of psionic energy moved through her body. Ashira gasped. The room darkened. Suddenly a low hum filled the chamber, not from the device, but from the ship itself. The walls pulsed. The vines on the walls glowed gold. Ashira's body lifted slightly off the ground. Her arms spread wide. Her voice, when it came, was layered, like a chorus of past selves speaking at once. I remember the garden world of Lyriat, the songs of the starship forests, the murder of my kin, the fire. Caleb stood back, shielding his eyes. Ashira's antennae lit up with blinding silver. A deep boom echoed through the ship, and then silence. She dropped gently back to the platform. Her breathing was fast, but calm. I have returned, she whispered. Caleb rushed to her side. Are you okay? Ashira opened her eyes. They were no longer just silver. They were burning. I can feel her, she said, the cradle. She's awake, and she's angry. Suddenly, the room's wall split open. A large insectoid warrior entered, clearly a Lysari soldier. His weapons were raised. You broke protocol, human, he barked. Stand down, the queen must be silenced again. Ashira stood slowly. She was taller now, straighter, more powerful. No, she said calmly. I am the protocol now. The soldier raised his weapon, but before he could fire, the ship reacted. From the floor, vines shot up, wrapping the soldier in glowing coils. He screamed, but the ship didn't hurt him. It only held him. Ashira walked forward, her voice filled with command. You fear what you cannot control, but I was not born to be controlled. I was born to lead. She turned to Caleb. The secrets are no longer buried. The walls remember. And so do I. Caleb nodded, heart pounding. Whatever happened next, this was no longer a medical job. This was a revolution. Style. Third person, simple English, engaging tone. Caleb Maris had never seen a queen like this before. HFY was no longer just a patient. She stood taller now, her voice firmer, her presence powerful. Her body glowed softly with psionic light, and when she walked, the ship responded, walls pulsing, doors sliding open before she even moved. But something else had changed too. She spoke more during their sessions. She didn't just ask for help, she asked for understanding. Her words weren't full of orders or commands. They were filled with emotion, with hunger, with desire. Not a romantic one, not lust, but something deeper. The desire to be known, to be seen, to be free. One day, as Caleb finished scanning her neural patterns, HFY suddenly placed her hand over his. "You do not fear me," she said. "No," Caleb replied. "You should. I could kill you with a thought. I could command this ship to open every airlock and throw you into the stars." "You won't," he said calmly. HFY tilted her head. "Why are you so sure?" "Because you don't want power over me. You want truth. You want connection." She pulled her hand back slowly, her antennae twitching. "You understand me too well, human." "I try," he said. Later that evening, Caleb sat in his quarters, reviewing her latest scan. He frowned. Her neural structure wasn't just repairing, it was evolving, stronger, sharper. Her brainwaves had doubled in complexity. No medicine could explain that. "She's changing," he whispered to himself. "No, she's returning to what she once was." Suddenly, his console flashed with a message. This time it wasn't a warning, it was a data packet, encrypted. Ancient. He opened it carefully. It contained secret Dominion records, ones that weren't supposed to exist, reports from over 70 years ago, descriptions of something called Project Stillheart. The files showed young Lissari royal children being experimented on, neural dampening, emotional control, forced memory erasure, and at the center of the files, one name, HFY. The next morning, Caleb confronted her. "These files," he said, showing her the screen. "They did this to you, since you were a child." HFY looked at the data. She did not seem surprised. "I always knew," she said. "I just couldn't prove it." She looked out the window at the stars. "I was too strong, too connected. The regents feared I would unlock the cradle, that I would awaken the older ways, so they made me forget who I was. They made me harmless." "But you're not harmless," Caleb said. "No." Her voice turned sharp. "Not anymore." In the following days, HFY's influence grew stronger. The cradle came alive in ways no one had seen in generations. Walls moved to protect her. Vines delivered supplies. Drones obeyed her without code. She no longer needed Caleb's machines. She was the machine now, or rather, she was its heart. But still she came to Caleb, not as a queen, as herself. "I have a choice to make," she told him one evening. "I can take back everything, the ships, the armies, the old throne. I can burn the Dominion to the ground. Will you?" Caleb asked. She didn't answer right away. "I don't want blood," she said at last, "but I want justice. And I want my people to remember who they are, not what the regents forced them to become." Caleb looked at her carefully. "Then we need to show them the truth." HFY looked at him. "Even if it starts a war?" "Especially then." Later that night, the cradle's core opened for the first time in over a century. Caleb stood by HFY as she stepped inside the central chamber, its walls made of shimmering memory crystal, its heart glowing like a sun. She placed her hand on the throne core, and the ship sang. It wasn't a sound Caleb could describe. It was light, feeling, memory. A flood of old songs, languages, and histories passed through him in an instant. The cradle broadcasted across space. Not just signals, but memories. The truth of what the Regents had done. The torture. The silence.